Hey friends and family, my name is Skylent, and I always try to share games with you guys so that you can play with your guys, or girls, or friends, or family, yeah. So this is going to be talking about the best reviewed free MMO on Steam. Steam is a great resource to just see reviews, to see how many players are actually playing it, and there's just a lot of stats and nerd stuff that let us know like how good a game really is, kind of objectively, which is important when it comes to massively multiplayer online games because they take so much effort and time to really get into. And if you're looking for this video, you probably are looking for free MMOs so that it's easy to just jump in and play with your friends or get them and convince them to try out this genre. These are the safest bets, objectively. So, I'm gonna run down this list. Hopefully we can find a game for you, your friends, the family, everyone. I don't know. Let's have a good time. I'd like to take this time to actually promote my personal services. Online presence matters so much. If you need a website, if you need a trailer, if you just need help throwing up some socials, email me at skylentshore@gmail.com or click the link in the description. All right, so starting out the list at number 10, we do have EVE Online. Now, the ordering might seem a little arbitrary. However, I'm going based on the percentage of really positive reviews. And this one has, all reviews, mostly positive, 23,600. Yeah, a lot of people really enjoy this game. So why is it so popular and yet at the same time so highly reviewed? And then at the same time, like, clearly it's a niche game. So basically, it is just the best with its niche. It is sci-fi, for one, and there's almost no other sci-fi MMO aside from Planetside. And then also, it is truly massively multiplayer, literally having the world record for the most amount of players inside of a singular conflict, all playing together. So yeah, there's even some unique server architecture to enable that, where they kind of, it's like time dilation. They kind of slow down time so that the servers can process everything. Really intense stuff, and nothing gets more sandbox than a literal, like, galaxy. So yeah, EVE Online's pretty big, and it's kind of famous for its, like, diplomacy and its sabotage and its true player interaction. Like, the community of EVE Online is something truly special. However, a little bit lower on the list because it is a weird game. Yeah, so this isn't for everyone. This isn't like World of Warcraft or, you know, maybe some of the more child-friendly games that are actually further up on the list. This is a game that is particularly niche. However, it is just so well done and is so specifically spectacular that it's going to make the list for best reviewed. Now, a lot of games would be on this list for being best reviewed because they're niche and because they have little reviews. However, I'm not going to count those. No, like 100 or 1,000 reviews. No, we're talking about really big games that are genuinely massive, and that is EVE Online. To start the list, I think it's a perfect one. Just know that this game is very number crunchy, very statistical, very slow paced, and it's very much about getting on Discord, talking with your friends, maybe even pulling out some Excel spreadsheets. Yeah, EVE Online's, it's strange, okay? You're not just running around slaying dragons, but for what it does, no other game really does it. And next up, we've got wakfu. Wakfu is such a weird game that I'm even like debating, is this even kind of an MMO? So here's the gimmick, okay? So, and this is what makes it niche and really particular. It's turn-based, it's a tactical MMORPG. I think, however, there is some nuance with its open or overworld section, because whenever you do run into an enemy, you do go into like an instance area, but people can like actually, I think, join you and party up and stuff. But okay, so wakfu has an anime. I need to watch it because it's actually like gorgeous. I think it's like flash animated and it's French. So wakfu is, I think, based in the world that was created from Dofus. And then like they have all these different games. If you actually scour my channel, there's a ton of different like wakfu, or I forget what they call it. Like it's part of the universe, the wakfu universe or whatever. I played all these different games, a bunch of card games. So it's a really interesting game with lots of different cool characters. And I think the story setting is so mythological. It's kind of epic. But anyways, I barely touched this game, but it's a really weird game. Okay, so you can actually play Dofus Touch on mobile devices or wakfu, but wakfu is the one that's on Steam. I'm mostly positive with 8,000 reviews. That's pretty decent. This is probably the most niche game on the list, and yet still people really know about it because of the anime, because of the... Well, there's certain animations on certain sites. But anyways, so wakfu I think is just gorgeous. I don't know, no other game looks like this. Now I talk about how sci-fi is the most niche genre of MMO. Whatever wakfu is, this art style is something special. I really love the flash, literally flash animated and flash inspired art style from this game. But if you guys liked Final Fantasy Tactics and you want like a Final Fantasy Tactics MMO, kind of what's going on here. Yeah, so, I mean, think what you want to think with that, I guess. It's a little bit of an older title, definitely doesn't have a huge, giant, massive player base, but it's got enough of a player base to probably consider this a living, breathing MMO community, and it's pretty special, so give it a shot. And next we actually have Tera. And in my research of doing this video, I was really surprised that Tera was on this list, but maybe it's not so surprising. So me, I'm an MMO content creator, I'm an influencer or reviewer, whatever you want to call it, and I meet many people like me, my peers, when I go, review these games or fly out to California and do conventions and stuff. And there's always one game that people like me always talk about, Tera. Why? Because it just had like the coolest, most banging, poppin', boppin' combat ever. It was just fun. Okay, now Tera's leveling's garbage, let's be honest. A lot of the game is a little too esoteric, a little too Final Fantasy inspired, I don't know. The game was very incohesive, but you know what really was stuck together and perfect? The combat. The combat was great and probably had the best, and I think most people would agree, the best tanking of any game. And actually, if you do get to the end game and play through the dungeons, really good. Like, just straight up dumb intense. Like, maybe actually too hard, maybe too difficult, too challenging, I don't know. But Tera was just deadly fun. So I did play as a tank, and I actually heard a lot of people say that healing was really cool because you actually have to aim everything. So if you don't know, if you can't tell from the gameplay, everything is like super action combat. This is the action combat MMO. That doesn't mean it's the most ridiculous, like Black Desert or even Guild Wars 2 actually has a decent amount of explosivity, but overall the sort of merging of stickiness, kind of like Soulsian style gameplay, with bombasticity, yeah, Tera's got a good mix of that. So I do actually implore that you play melee classes, especially try tanking and Tera. Really freaking fun. How many people agree? It's mostly positive on Steam with like 6,000 players. It did come to Steam a little bit later, but in the end, yeah, Tera did sort of wind down. Tera is not very performant. It's got, Unreal Engine 3's got some problems. So if you have a stronger machine, you got stronger internet connection, maybe you missed out on the hype when Tera launched. Kind of a tragedy, but Tera isn't a worthless game. It is still very interesting, and if you run through this with a weekend, with the boys, you can actually have such a dumb time. You and 4 other people join a party, jump in, do your holy trinity roll system, who's the tank, who's the healer, who's the DPSs, jump in, grind it up, level up, do some endgame. Tera is probably going to be some of the best MMO gameplay you've ever had, but as a solo player, hard to recommend this. Still, play with some friends, fantastic free MMO that people still talk about today. Okay, now Adventure Quest 3D. Oh my goodness. So mostly positive reviews are at 6,646. Cool, awesome. Artix is freaking, I don't know, fun. Just fun and funny. So this game, I know, okay, you're gonna look at it first glance, right? It's like, okay, this looks like a cheesy World of Warcraft for kids, maybe? And this even actually is a cross-platform game where you can play on mobile devices or on, Steam, whatever. So there's some weird feelings with that, right? Actually, Adventure Quest 3D is kind of a different sort of game. Maybe in some ways that people play Fortnite or even the game Guild Wars 2 might sort of kind of get what I'm about to say. It's not really about the gameplay, it's about the community. It's about the seasonal events, and Adventure Quest 3D, kind of like Fortnite, is just not afraid to be dumb. Like, it gets ridiculous, it breaks fourth walls. They have literal concerts, like they'll have like Breaking Benjamin come and do like a giant, I don't know, mosh pit thing. It's dumb. It's fun though. And it's also kind of a parody. So if you actually like RuneScape, where a lot of the quests literally break the fourth wall, or it's like the whole game is kind of a joke and it's all self-aware, yeah, this game is also that. So it's not taking itself too seriously. It knows it's a game, and you jump in and you also know that it's a community. This is something kind of special, and a lot more people need to see past its like veneer of like, oh, it's for kids, because it's really for everyone. And when you jump in, you do feel like you're a part of everyone and everything. I don't know, it's kind of a special MMO magical feeling that I get that I really do appreciate. Now, of course, I love me some sci-fi and I love me some hardcore, esporty MMO goodness or sandbox, grindathon and PvPing, but I don't know, just to jump around and do some magical stuff with my bros and friends and girls and whatever. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, now we do have a game that I think is kind of especially for kids, and this one is actually really popular. So you can play this on consoles as well if you want to, but in the end, it's on Steam. We're talking about Steam because that's where we can track the metrics. Mostly positive, 16,700 people. Like, yeah, no, this game's pretty cool. So even today, I think that this game is action-packed. I think it actually still looks really decent. And even though the game is cheesy, like it's superheroes and everything, I think we're more acclimated to that culture. Oh my god, have you guys actually watched Invincible? You have to watch Invincible. It's so good, though that's not for kids. Anyways, I think we're cooler with superheroes. I think we're cooler with just overall playing cheesier MMOs and cheesier power systems. But one thing that I just want to say with this game is I just love jumping around. Like, I always go with the speed archetype, and I just jump around from building to building. I don't know if you guys ever played, like, you know, Spider-Man or Prototype or, you know, a bunch of these other, like, superhero games, but sometimes the most fun, like, you know, Batman, it's just jumping around, gliding around or something like that. It's just exploring the world. And fun fact, that's kind of like, you know, another cool aspect of MMOs is just exploring the world. And DC Universe Online makes it really easy to just be goofy, jump around the world, and just do, I don't know, do some superhero antics and stuff. So a lot of people also feel the same. Overall, thought it was, you know, genuinely just an interesting title that has actually persisted where other superhero games have not. And I know a lot of us miss those games. You guys always talk about I should play the private servers of those games. We're always kickstarting and trying to get new superhero MMO out there. But honestly, DC Universe Online is seriously underrated, even though it is actually it's one of the most well-rated games. I think that in terms of, like, you know, there's so many fantasy, medieval, European MMOs. DC Universe Online, superhero MMOs should come up, but DC Universe Online really should be talked about just a little bit more. So give it a shot, especially if you have, like, somebody like younger cousins or, you know, maybe a son, a child, a daughter. Definitely one of these games to play with them. Okay, so halfway on the list we have Albion Online, which I am so surprised over the past couple years that this has become so acclaimed, because I played the alpha, had a lot of fun. It was supposed to be like this Ultima sort of clone, sort of game, but also meant for mobile devices. But then they changed it to being, like, mostly PC focused, which, by the way, you can actually play it on mobile now. It is fully released. But they've switched it. It's like a mix of theme park and sandbox. There's a lot of PvE content now, which is actually genuinely good, even back when it wasn't the focus. That's what I did the most. I thought there was, like, a fun sort of, if you ever jungled in MOBAs, you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's like a jungly sort of feel, but it is a PvEVP game. It is a sandbox game, and it doesn't have the same, like, backstabbing, sabotage, diplomacy stuff going on like EVE Online. It's not as open, but for what it does and how it has transformed itself with its PvEVP, like, open world dungeons, you always gotta watch your back, maybe have a scout running around to make sure that you guys aren't gonna get invaded or whatever. It's really cool. There's even some Soulsian style, like, invasion dungeons, and man, the way they've been expanding this game with its story, you know, with its player-driven story, with the way its guilds, the real estate stuff, I don't know, I can go on and on about all these little micro systems that it has, but that's what makes it good. And that's why it had an awkward phase earlier, you know, it had all these little microsystems that weren't too cohesive, but now it is. So mostly positive with 36,000 reviews. People are like, yo, this is actually a pretty sweet game. So it does look mobile game-ish, and it is actually inspired and to be a mobile game, but genuinely, the way I can describe it is Ultima merged with League of Legends. And I love how all the abilities are custom, slotted into your armors and your weapons. So based on what you're wearing, you basically are creating your class. So if you like that Path of Exile style customization, but you're making your own whole kit inside of a League of Legends style, like, action combat system, with a proper Holy Trinity with PvE and PvP focus. Also, you can even do some farmvilling, and I will end on saying this. Albion Online is the only sandbox game that I've played where it is not wolf versus sheep, which just means really strong people preying on the weak until you get strong. This is the only game that is, I would have to say, cat versus mouse, where cats have hunting abilities, which is the PvP players who are ganking and hunting, and then you also have the gatherers who are just trying to, you know, PvE or whatever. You actually get special abilities to run away. So it's genuinely fun. It's like playing chase or tag or something like that. And I think all aspects of Albion Online are really coming together, and I'm so proud. So I need to cover this game more, and I will. Stay subscribed for that, and hopefully I'll see you in game as well. Next on the list, we actually have a game that my son was just saying he still plays, and I was a little worried that this game kind of fell out of the limelight, which I think it did overall for people like me, you know, the old Vanguard, or people who are looking towards Ashes of Creation and things. But frankly, there's a lot of just really fun, tight games that are just still actually popping, especially for younger audiences. The TikTok generation, we have Trove. Oh my goodness, Trove was a beloved game of mine. I even have still some cringy Let's Play footage on my channel. Don't look for it. Where, you know, it was just fun. It's just fun and silly, and it was inspired by a lot of the roguelites at the time, where you can jump into a world and it's sort of procedurally generated. Dungeons are just kind of spawned in, and everyone is sort of discovering and running around together. But this game's unique because it's like the fastest MMO to get into. You literally just log in, and within moments, you have all the abilities that you will ever have. And it's really cool because all the items are randomized. You're literally getting armor pieces that other players have designed and stuff because it's voxel based. I don't know, man. I get really stuttery over this game because there's a lot of really fun, silly kid stuff, that I'm trying to exaggerate just a little bit. But the game is super simple. You know, you just run around, shoot them up. You know, it actually is kind of, it is a looter shooter. Even the melee classes, you are aiming and using spells and actually shooting them like a third-person shooter. So yeah, you got characters like grappling hook. You don't just have double jumps. You have like quadruple super jumps, gliding around, mounts, and just a lot of ridiculous stuff. You can make your own home bases, make your own islands, mini games, all sorts of stuff. There's even a cool trading economy in this game. And I think overall, some detriments is that they made it harder to unlock classes, which is a big part of the fun of the game. Like if you play other ARPGs, it's about, you know, like Black Desert Online or something like that, where it's about leveling up multiple classes or characters. So it's a little bit harder to do that, but just a one and done play through the weekend. And especially, again, if you have somebody younger in your life, probably the MMO to actually jump in and play. It is just so freeing to just jump around, glide around, blow up some blocks, blow up some big bosses, and the game is actually, you know, pretty substantial, I think, overall. Now, you are going to hit a cap. There is an end to the content, but overall, there is stuff to do. I think over a weekend, you're going to have a great time. Lots of different biomes, lots of different stuff to see, and in terms of freedom, no other game really gives you this level of just parkour and just ridiculousness and silliness. Even, you know, you can compare it to Minecraft. It is not like a Minecraft MMO. This really is its own thing, and I think you should give it a shot. It truly, I think, is an adventure. A light adventure, you know, again, over a weekend, but an adventure nonetheless. And yeah, a lot of people agree with me. Very positive at 81,600 reviews. Alright, finally we got Planetside II. This is a game that I've championed over and over again. I'll just make like random tweets. I'll just be like, hey, Planetside II, you guys should play, it's awesome. Planetside II, we had so much fun when we did the Adventure Game Party Club. We just jumped in, just did a bunch of bull crap, you know, jump from giant airships, C4 bases, just try to ninja stealth behind them. I don't know, just a lot of cool stuff you could do with your friends, you know, like, oh man, let's all just get on the ridge with sniper rifles and just do stuff. Whoever can get the most headshots wins or whatever, you know, just, oh, let's all get into this airship and just, like, you know, try to do anti-air combat, which you're gonna fail at because flying is really difficult in this game, but it's just really dumb, you know, oh, let's all spawn in tanks and raid this base. It's just stupid cool. Or you could just jump in, and actually I think Planetside 2 is one of the coolest games to make friends in, but free to play. Just jump in with your friends. Literally, I think anybody, any age, at any time. You do need a kind of stronger PC, but for the most part, this is a game that is just so obvious. You literally log in, as soon as you click play, you are literally fighting hundreds of other people. It is just chaos and ridiculousness. Pretty straightforward. It's sci-fi, Battlefield, but as an actual MMO. Hundreds versus hundreds versus hundreds. Just make sure you guys are all in the same faction, which should be Vanu Sovereignty because they're the best. And just, dude, Planetary War. It's pretty sick. Now, I love this game. It might even be my favorite MMO in general. It's not an RPG, but in terms of my favorite MMO, this is going to be the one that I play forever as long as the servers are up. Now, there's been amazing updates lately, so that's why the population has gone up and then down and up and down, but overall, it is kind of a more niche game, being sci-fi, being like the literal only like MMO FPS proper, but in the end, no other game is as epic as this. And not only that, but it is so instantaneously to get in. And now, on a note about the free-to-play. How free-to-play is it? It's very fair. The starter classes, which you get access to all of them, it's like the best stuff anyways. It's pretty easy to unlock at least one class's stuff and things, and I really enjoy it. Personally, I love Light Assault with drifter jets and a shotgun. Pretty dumb and fun. It feels like I'm playing like Unreal or, I don't know, Tribes Ascend maybe. Also, I love Perm Invis with a one-hit, you know, kill sword. So that's also neat. I love just kind of playing it like I'm playing like Crisis or something, like I'm the Predator. There's a lot of different customizations. I still need to get really good at flying. You know, there's vehicles, crazy stuff. Oh my god, I kind of love this game, so I'm not going to gush too much about it, but yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. A big, epic, Star Wars-y bullshit. If you want to play that, everyone does. It's at least worth trying out, definitely, and a lot of people also agree. Very positive with 61,600 reviews. And I'm noticing a trend here, actually. Some of the most reviewed games on this list. Realm of the Mad God is the shining example of this. It's just easy to jump into. A lot of these games are just easy to jump into, and a lot of MMOs aren't. A lot of MMOs are these big, trudgy, just arduous journeys before you even get to the real game. But the past couple of games, and especially Realm of the Mad God, is just you click play, and you are playing the game. Realm of the Mad God is like really the only proper roguelite game out there. Well, Trove has elements. No, Realm of the God literally has, like, you die, and that's part of the progression. So you want to level up, you know, you jump in with like a little warrior, you're shooting your little sword at things, and it's, you know, it's top down, it's super arcade, super minimalistic, but you just run in, just pew, 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 you know, you just pew shit up. You know, this looks like it could fit actually inside of like a barcade or something, right? Which I kind of wish they had arcade systems for Realm of the Mad God. But anyways, so you just jump in, you try to get to a certain level, you die probably on your attempt to raid the Mad God. And then you actually get new classes and new abilities, and there is progression, there's items, you know, random items, random rings and stuff like that, but the game is so simple, so minimalistic, and yet actually, like, it's just really decent. It's always a game to just kind of jump in and play, and very positive reviews at like 39,000. Okay, 39,000 reviews are like, yeah, this is a, you know, thumbs up, this is pretty good stuff. Because it's just so unique. Now, there's been a few attempts at that have completely failed. This is the only game that's really done it proper. Other games, yeah, there's not even another game like this at the moment. So I do think that this game is worth trying because it'll take like 5 minutes of your life. But if there was any game just to like, hey, what do you want to do? We got like 10 minutes to kill. This is it. You know, whether it's an MMO or otherwise, this is like one of the browser. Oh, also, by the way, it's a browser game, so you can just do that. Just play it in the browser if you want to. But you can play it on Steam. You just jump in and just have a good little romp. You know, oh, you're gonna be a little priest. I'll be the warrior. We got a little thief guy. We'll just jump in. We'll try to raid the Mad God. I do like the dynamic events in this game where like there's no parties or anything. You just get near people, and then if there's a boss nearby, it's like, oh, let's all kill the boss. And then the final raid on the Mad God is actually kind of epic. Like it's seriously legit. So this is like an MMO to the most minimalistic level, and then turned into a roguelike. That's it. Simple as that. And because of that simplicity in a genre full of really ridiculous complexity, that's why this game is so special. And finally, at the moment, for the #1 best reviewed MMO, we do actually have Runescape. So right now, the number's pretty low though, and that's also why this list is kind of shaped weird, because some games are more popular, which means there's probably more negative reviews as well, probably more of a fair opinion, frankly, but RuneScape's a little bit newer, and there's some dubiousness with that, we'll talk about it, but a very positive with 14,000 reviews, and this is talking about the newest RuneScape, but then again, also old school RuneScape is very well reviewed too. Just keep in mind those are two different games. Now, these games have just launched on Steam, but they also did just launch on mobile, and then at the same time, most people still play with a custom launcher, I believe like Rune Lite and stuff like that. And so that might actually be the preferred way to play, but overall, RuneScape is still just a genuinely good game, so let's talk about that. RuneScape is still popular today because the questing is just that good, because the skilling, the progression is just that addicting, because the community is kind of special little snowflakes. I don't know. The memes, the history, the nostalgia, sure, all of that. But even for newer players, especially if you play the newer RuneScape, I think there's some charm in the graphics. There is a sort of dioramic, sort of playable fable, sort of comic book nature to the game where, yeah, it doesn't take itself seriously. It breaks the fourth wall. There's a ton of jokes in it. And I think most of that you really do feel in old school RuneScape, but in the end also in newer RuneScape too. So I think that overall, it's just it's probably the best MMO, like in terms of certain MMO mechanics. Like when items drop on monsters, they drop, you know, in the real world, and if you die, you drop items. You have to rush back to try to get it. Some people can steal it. If certain people are farming certain trees or monsters, then you won't be able to get those materials. You do have to kind of fight over those, you know, even though it's not PvP. There is still an element of, even if you never interact with anybody ever, such as Iron Man, you still feel like you're playing an MMO because of how people interact with the resources in the world. I do appreciate that, but me personally, I just kind of play it on my phone as like, almost like a comic book, because I just love the questing. The questing is fun. And by the way, the questing isn't just good stories, and it's just not just funny. There's genuine puzzles, like straight up like some alchemy in this game. You have to actually use your brain and think about things. Now, sure, you could look up a guide and everything like that. I guess you probably will in the end, but RuneScape is just genuinely, the quests feel like quests. It's really not just kill 5 boars, and even the most simplistic quests probably have a joke thrown in there, or there actually is a small micro puzzle within it. So I truly appreciate RuneScape, even without nostalgia, but of course, if you can actually look past some of the older gimmicky features, then I think that you'll have a great time with RuneScape. But yeah, if you're an older player and you need to come back, yeah, you need to come back. You need to. Like, if you're not playing RuneScape now, what are you doing? Play like, just have it on your phone, at least, you know? Give it a shot every once in a while, because there's still magic here. And for those who are new coming, trust me, there's still magic here, even for you. Oh yeah, and one thing I guess I can kind of fight over, the game is kind of tile-based, and it is tick rate-based, so the game is going to feel sluggish and kind of look sticky. Actually, if you get into the PvP, like, there is, like, straight up an like, this is the only esport MMO proper. The PvP, and because it's tick rate, actually enhances the PvP, because it's, like, pseudo turn-based, and you could do more in your turn if you're faster with clicks. I know it's weird, but a lot of the kind of jank and awkwardness of the game, even to the fact that your character can look through walls sometimes, is actually played as jokes. Like, the game knows what it is, I promise you. So all the things that you're like, oh, this is garbage, actually, maybe it's kind of good. It's super weird to say, you just gotta give it a shot. I'm sure people in the comments below are also gonna let you know. But I will also say that in terms of listening to their community and trying to follow along, even completely persisting two different forms of their game, you have the newer RuneScape and old school RuneScape, which actually have their totally different branches of updates. I feel like Jagex does a decent job. They even have the only esport MMO. So as like community management and in terms of like publishing, they're not perfect, but in a genre where most companies do it pretty bad, pretty poorly, RuneScape, there's a reason why people are championing it and have it so highly regarded. It's so highly reviewed on Steam. So that's it, guys. Those are the best reviewed free-to-play MMO on Steam. So that's not just MMORPGs. We do have some sci-fi shoot-em-ups and stuff and things, but overall, these are pretty objective. Like, this list is objective, and there are some games that I could have included, I guess, but they just had, like, no reviews and literally nobody playing them. So these games are safe bets. You can jump into them, especially if you already have some friends that you want to play with. These are all great games that you can play through with a weekend or through a week, maybe a month long even, and you're gonna have a great, fantastic time. I know, lots of different games, lots of different genres for lots of different people, but that's who I am targeting with this list. Hopefully, there's something here for you, and if you found a new game to play, then, I don't know, remember to give a like and comment and algorithm boosting bullcrap on stuff on YouTube. So, trying to grow this channel, trying to get to 100K. Hope you guys are here for the ride, for the journey, and join me when I stream and play some of these games. But if you want to play with me, join my Discord as well, links in the description. Much love, friends and family, keep that hype alive. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you again next time.